back. I probably understand that you have a class change happening right now or very soon. So what we're going to do is kind of keep things moving. When the new teacher comes, just allow them to come into the room. And I think if you're doing a good job, which I hope you are, and I know you are, otherwise I wouldn't have asked you to do this, you're going to kind of keep on doing what you're doing. And let's go over classwork 14. This is on page 102 in the binder. What you're going to want to do in classwork 14 is we're looking at some rock names and we're coming up with some percentages for these names that we want. And the percentages are for the minerals that are in there. So for the crystals and percentages part on classwork 14, you're going to look at a reference table to answer these questions. And let's go ahead and jump right in it. So the first rock that we're looking at is andesite. Okay, andesite is the first rock that we're going to look at on this reference table. And let's go ahead and take a look and find andesite on this. So andesite is here, and all the mineral composition stuff is going to be down on the bottom. It's this part of the reference table. Okay, all of this stuff on the bottom is what we're going to look at. And before we get really into that, you're going to want to take a piece of scrap paper and set it up so that you can do work on this section. So what you're going to want to do, Priscilla and Francesca, is grab some scrap paper from the purple box right by the computer station, and you're going to either give people who don't have scrap paper that scrap paper, or you're going to let people look in the boxes in front of them and get that scrap paper out. So go ahead and pause the tape now. Okay, now that we're back with the scrap paper, I think we're all set and ready to go. What you're going to want to do is take your sheet of scrap paper. We're going to make this scrap paper here on the smart board for me to use. Okay. So here's my piece of scrap paper that I'm going to use here. I'm going to line it up right on the edge here. And what I'm going to want to do is copy this exact thing. I'm just going to copy this exact thing here. Now you might notice as you're copying it, you might wonder what the little lines stand for and how we're counting by. See if you can figure that out as we do it, and I'm going to reveal the answer in a second. Just to save some time here. Okay, everybody's copying this down. You're going to want to pause the tape here to make sure that everybody has this and it's all set and ready. So go ahead and pause the tape now to make sure that we are all on the same page and we all have a scrap paper. Okay, we're back, and here we go. We're going to take this that we have and we are going to move this around. Okay, and this is our scrap sheet that we're using. We're going to move this around, and we're going to use this to kind of figure out some of these mineral composition questions that we have here. Andesite is here. This is the hardest part of using this reference table. It's a little confusing, so just bear with me for a second. In andesite, there's a lot of rocks that will be called andesite. They don't all have the exact same mineral composition, so your answers for this section will be a little bit different. Okay, and I'll show you what that means in a second. For now, let's imagine, right, we go right down the middle of andesite, and we could draw like a little dotted line going right down. If you do this on your reference table, I would just advise you to go really light on it. It doesn't have to be a very dark line. It can even be a dotted line, or it can be no line at all if you're really comfortable with that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to use this now to see how much of this is which mineral. And there are a couple of different minerals up here. And what you're going to want to do is first understand what minerals you're looking at, and then understand how to use this scale here on the right. All right, so first thing is I'm going to ask you, what are, according to the line that I've drawn here, what are the three minerals that the line goes through? Pause the tape now and ask students the question, give them a chance to answer. What are the three minerals that my line has gone through? Okay, we're back, and the three minerals that the line has gone through are here, here, and here. Those three minerals are plagioclase feldspar. You could call it P feldspar. biotite, and amphibole. Those are three minerals that will make up this rock that we're looking at, this andesite. So if we were to take apart that andesite, and again, remember the minerals are the ingredients for the rocks are the combinations of the minerals. So if we took these three minerals and cooked them just the right way, we would get an andesite rock. Okay, and so those three minerals are pelagic clay feldspar, biotite, and amphibole. So we can actually go to our chart and write that down first. According to the line that we drew, we have three minerals: P feldspar, amphibole, and biotite. It's easier if you have a reference table so you don't have to keep flipping back and forth, but also know that if you look at the page right after this, you have a reference table in the back of homework number 30 that you can use for this. All right, so you don't have to keep flipping back and forth. But these are the three minerals that we have, and that was pretty easy to do. Here is the part that's more difficult. So I'm back over here on the reference table, and I have my scrap sheet. I'm going to draw that dotted line again, just so that I have a guideline for what I'm looking at. And here is what you're going to need to do to figure out the percentages of those things. Okay, and this is the part that's a little confusing, so I'm going to do it more than once. If I want to find what percentage of this line is in pelagic clay feldspar, I'm going to move my ruler so that my zero starts at the beginning of pelagic clay feldspar, and I'm looking to see where it ends at. And the question that I asked you earlier was, what are each of these little lines, these little spaces in between the numbers, each of these marks represent? And if you said 5, it represents 5%, and you're correct. Okay, so each one of these lines here is 5%. So here's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. That's how you can check it. 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. It's somewhere between 55 and 60%. So however you want to estimate that on yours, you can go ahead and do it. And if you don't get exactly the same numbers, it's all right, just so long as they're about this in this general ballpark. So if it's anywhere from 55 to, I don't know, even 60 would be all right for that line. So pelagic clay feldspar would be about 50, I'm just going to say 55%. You can be more specific and more precise, but they're not going to ask you something that specific and precise and take off for that. This is more for you to know how to use this reference table. So we have one mineral and its percentage. When we want to do another mineral and its percentage, here's the trick. You have to make sure that you are moving this line that we're looking at, I'm sorry, not the line, the scrap paper that we're looking at, to start at 0 again at the beginning of that mineral. Okay, so here's, I'm just drawing the line again. Here's what we're going to do with our little line. We're going to move this down so that the 0 starts at the beginning of the next mineral, and we're going to read where it ends. Here is the key point. The 0 has to start at the beginning of where the mineral is, where it crosses that line that I drew a little earlier, and the end of it. So if we look from the beginning to the end and we count it, again we're counting by 5, 0, 5, 10, it's 10% this mineral. So it's about 55% here, 10% here, and you could just kind of go and subtract these two from 100 to get the last one, but we can also do the last one where we move this down. So let's go for 1 second before we do that just to write this on our sheet. So 55% feldspar, 10% amphibole, and we have one, I'm sorry, that wasn't amphibole, 10% biotite. Erase. 10% biotite. Now we need to figure out what our percentage of amphibole is. And if we go back here, we're going to again move this so that our 0 starts at the beginning of where that mineral starts, and our top part is right at the end of it. Let's see if we can get a nice clear picture of what this is supposed to look like. When we get a nice clear picture, and we're counting by 5s again, we got 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30% amphibole. And you notice that it may not add up exactly to 100%. That's fine if it doesn't. Okay, it actually would have been better if we would have put 60 in up here. Maybe that's how we should have done it. But based on the line that we drew, it was 30% in